Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Crypto Watch. Right, thanks everyone for joining me today. Right, so today, right, is going to be very exciting as usual. Right, we are going to talk about not just Bitcoin but also another coin, right, that we have mentioned last week. Right, so we'll first start off, by talking about Bitcoin. Right, what's the future direction of Bitcoin? Whether it is going to run soon or is it going to break down further? Right, so that will actually give all of you a sense, right, of how what's going to happen in the crypto market, right? Because Bitcoin is actually seen as the overall highest market capitalization, right, for the cryptocurrency. Right, but if you're here with me live, right, don't forget to actually click that like button so that I know you are here live with me. Right, so before I delve in the topic proper, right, as always, right, for those of you who are joining me for the very first time, let me give you a brief introduction about myself. Right, so I'm the trade engineer, TTE for short. I have about 6 to 7 years of trading experience, right? And this includes numerous instruments such as stocks, futures, forex, and cryptocurrency. I've helped numerous aspiring traders like unlock their best trade, like and unleash the trading potential within them. All this using just some simple yet effective techniques. And before I start the session proper again, right, I'll give a few disclaimers over here. I ensure the accuracy information as far as possible, but there'll be no responsibility taken for any loss of inconvenience created by any omission or error. The ideas presented here, right, are just for reference and educational purposes only. And the presentation contents today are not intended in any way to give trading advice or recommendations to buy or sell any instrument. Me, the trade engineer, shall not have any liability for any loss or expense whatsoever relating to the trading decision taken by the audience. And last but not least, all copyrights reserved. So let's quickly do a quick recap, right, of Bitcoin last week. And to start that session, to start the recap, right, I'll play a video from my TikTok channel. Right, and let's go. Yep, sorry for that. Yeah, anyway, I'll go through this in detail, right? Basically, let's move on to that. So this actually, is what I mentioned in the video. It's the same thing, right? So unfortunately, the video, there are some difficulties, right? But I would go through in detail what I actually went through for Bitcoin last week. So first of all, right, we talk about the uptrend line, right, for Bitcoin last week, right, and this was the support level, right, that was tested, right. So at that time, right, we actually saw that the Bitcoin price was actually testing this uptrend line, and we weren't quite sure whether it remains supported or will it actually break down. In fact, right, at the time last week, it was just testing this support level. Right, it was very close, to breaking down. And the other thing we mentioned, right, was this first horizontal support level at about 42,500 to 42,600. And it was testing this as the first horizontal support. Right? If in fact it was trading around this level. And at that time, we also mentioned, right, whether it can remain convincingly supported for further upside or will it actually break down. And we did mention, right, if let's say the uptrend line breaks and the horizontal support breaks, we could be looking at the next level about 40,000 US dollars. Right, so that is something that we have to watch out if it actually breaks down further. And on the upside of things, right, we actually mentioned about resistance level as well. Right, so the first resistance was about 45,300 to 45,500. That was what we identified last week. And whether it can eventually break through, right, is the question we ask, right. If it actually break through and prices trade above this level, it could be the next support. And if we actually look at further upside, right, there's the second resistance level at 48,000, right? And for the MACD, it actually turned negative, right, last week. And we were actually questioning whether, it can actually turn positive in the near term. On a shorter time scale, right, we actually mentioned about the 4-hour time scale. And we did mention that, there was this slight bullish divergence in which saw lower prices, right, but higher lows for the RSI. So that kind of indicates, a bottom out, right, in the short term. And right, for the 4-hour MACD, we did see some positive signs as well. We saw that it just turned positive. Right, so there's a quick update. Right, you can actually, that was also what was seen in my TikTok video. You can actually follow me on my TikTok channel at The Trade Engineer for more details, right, and a quick summary of what I've covered last week. So let's look at what happened for Bitcoin ever since then. So this is actually the updated chart on the daily time scale, right? For this particular week. So first of all, right, we have that uptrend line, and you can see quite clearly, right, this is the same uptrend line. It actually broke below this uptrend line on Sunday, right? So this was Sunday, right? This red candle here was Sunday, and on Monday it was a very red candle. In fact, it tried to push up, beyond this uptrend line, but it failed and eventually broke down. So there was quite a big candle and quite a big bearish movement. Right, and we had that level at 42,500 to 42,600. And that was not identified as the first support, right, as what I mentioned last week. And unfortunately, it also could not stay above this support level. In fact, it also dropped, right? It broke below this support and fell further down. Right, and we mentioned that second support level, right, at about 40,000, right? So you can see that it actually, right, it went slightly below this 40,000 level, right? But now currently it is, trading above it, right? So there is some support, seen here, right? We didn't really, it didn't really stop at 40,000. It went slightly below, but now it is trying to reclaim this as the support level. Daily MACD, right? Daily MACD continues to be pretty negative, right? In fact, negative all the way through for this particular week. So that's an indication of bearish momentum as well. So what's the conclusion, right? That we got over the past 7 days of trading since then, right? So basically, it did not turn bullish, right? Because on the very right after my sharing, right, it actually fell, it broke below the uptrend line and also broke below the support, the first horizontal support. So with that, it actually turned bearish, right, because they're not convincingly supported, and it actually went straight to our second support level. It actually went slightly below, but overall it was a pretty good call. In that sense that it went close to it. So if we actually saw this coming, right? If we actually took a short trade, when we see that the uptrend line and the support, the first horizontal support was actually broken, we could actually gain a cool 5%, right, from shorting. And that's an assumption, right, that we actually shorted on Monday, right, and covered back at the second horizontal support of 40,000 US dollars. Right. So, for those of you who are not very sure about what shorting is actually, selling the shares first, or in this case, selling the coins first and buying back at a later time. Yep, so that's a way you can make money as well from trading. Right, and that I also did post an update on my TikTok channel, right, on the 3 support areas to watch for, after the steep drop on Monday. So let me try to play this video and see whether it can be played. Oh. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so basically that's also another video for my TikTok channel, right? So basically, it also shows, what to look out for, right? The 3 support areas to look out for after the drop on Monday. Right, so let me go through, right? Anyway, I also covered this in these slides, right? So this is the content I'm going to cover here is exactly the same as what I mentioned in the TikTok channel. So first of all, right, the first support level we have to watch out for, right, as I mentioned in my TikTok channel, is this new uptrend line, right? So you can see that this new uptrend line was tested numerous times in the past, right? And it was tested again, at that time. And we had a new support level, new first horizontal support level, right? And this first horizontal support is at a slightly lower level, about 39,600 to 39,700. So it used to be the period resistance over here, right? But now it became the support, right? And if we actually see that, check out the intersection, right, between the uptrend line and the horizontal support, right? We actually have this area called the area of confluence, right? Where actually the intersection between the horizontal support and the uptrend line. So when we see that such area of confluence, it is actually a very good sign, because it actually means that there could be some strong support coming in to actually, support the price. In this case, it's Bitcoin. Right. So how did that pan out, right? After that, right? After I make that this video on Tuesday, right? Last week, after that steep drop of Bitcoin. So over here, you can see that, with the updated prices, right? This is the same uptrend line, right? It is, still supported by this same uptrend line, right? You can see that prices have more or less stayed above this uptrend line for the past week. Right, and that new right horizontal support, right, at 39,600, 39,700, it is holding at this level, right? It has actually not closed below this level so far, and it is currently trading above this level. So it can be concluded by this area of confluence, right, between that uptrend line as well as that horizontal support is actually forming a very strong support zone. Yep. So in conclusion, right, the uptrend line and that horizontal support at about 39,600 to 39,700 seems to hold very strongly, and together this area of confluence is actually a very good support for prices, right, for Bitcoin prices. Yep. So that actually concludes some of my previous sharing for Bitcoin, and now most importantly, right, we actually want to ask what is the future, right? What does the future hold for Bitcoin? And before we delve deeper, right, do give this video, right, do tap on that like button if you like the sharing so far. Now let's quickly go through, right, on what to look out for Bitcoin in the near future. So let's first talk about the daily chart, right? So the daily chart, we have this uptrend line. There's the same uptrend line that I mentioned just now, right? So you can see that it is trading above the uptrend line, and we have to watch out for this key level. If the price continues to stay above this line, that's good. That implies that it could potentially move up to the upside, make a bounce up. But if it breaks down below this line, then we do have to be cautious for any further downside. And that horizontal support, right, 39,600, 39,700, that is the key level to watch out for, right? The price should try not to close below this line, right? Else it might turn bearish as well. Area of confluence, right? Whether this can continue to be a strong support zone, right? That is also the question to be asked as well. Right, but if things go downhill, right, it actually turn bearish, right? There could be other levels that we could be watching out for. So over here, I sketch out a few model support levels that you might be interested in watching out for, in case Bitcoin actually breaks down to the downside. Right, so the second support, right, that we could be looking out for will be corresponding to a level about 39,100 to 39,200. That's corresponding to this upper line over here, right, black. By the way, this breaks down further, right? We could be looking at another third level, right? About 38,100 to 38,200, right? So this is something to watch out for, right? If the uptrend line breaks and this horizontal support also breaks. But if Bitcoin actually makes a move to the upside, right, then we could be looking out for the resistance level, right? Where will we actually take profit, or where do we actually see whether the level this level will actually be headed will be broken and headed for more upside, right? So the first resistance level that we're going to watch out for, right, is this level 41,700 to 41,800. Right, so very recently it tried to break, right? You can see here it tried to break past this level, but it couldn't, right? So that is something that we do have to watch out. That is the first immediate resistance, right? It has to break past this level for Bitcoin to actually move the upside, right? And it has to break convincingly. And if it actually breaks convincingly, then we could be looking at other resistance level, right? So here are other resistance level that we could be watching out for, right, in the near term. So the second resistance level is somewhere about 42,400 to 42,500. And if it breaks past that as well, then we could be looking at a third resistance level about 44,000, right? So this is something to watch out for if that first horizontal resistance actually breaks convincingly. Right. And if we look at other indicators, right, so first of all is that MACD, right, the daily MACD. You can see that it is still negative, right? It is still negative very recently, but it seems that the gap, right, the negative value is actually dropping. It actually appears to be less negative. Right? You can see that the bars here are becoming less negative recently, and the gap is closing, right? So if that is actually a good sign, right, it might imply that a crossover might be imminent, right? It might imply that there might be a crossover to the positive region. And if that happens, that is another confirmation that Bitcoin might be headed for further upside. So here's my trading strategy, my trading plan. Once again, please do your own due diligence. This is just my own opinion, right? Don't follow blindly. So basically, right, there is both potential for long and short, right? But whether you want to buy first, sell later, or sell first and buy back later, right? So if you're thinking of longing, which is to buy first and to sell at a higher price, right? We could actually enter a long position, but that is provided by the area of confluence, right? That uptrend line and the horizontal support actually holds convincingly. And if we have that confirmation that the MACD continues to be less negative, right? We can actually add long position, right? If that is so. And if we actually see that the first horizontal resistance clears convincingly, right, we could add more long position, right? Because it could imply that there could be further upside. Yep. And if we get a confirmation, right, the additional confirmation of MACD crossing over to the positive region, that is another confirmation that this might turn bullish, right? But if not, if it doesn't break convincingly and it fails to cross over the positive region, we should actually take profit at this level to be safe. Yep, but if the bullish momentum continues, then you can actually hold your position, add more long position, and take profit at a higher price, right? Possibly at the second and third horizontal resistance level. But it might turn bearish as well, right? So if you are we have to see the situation, and if is turning bearish, we could enter a short position, right? So to sell first and buy back at a lower price. So that is provided that area of confluence is broken convincingly, and or the MACD actually becomes more negative, right? And we can set target price at the second and third horizontal support levels. Yep. So this is what I'm looking out for Bitcoin, and those are the key levels, the key indicators to watch out for this week. Right, and that concludes my quick sharing for Bitcoin. So if you have found value in my sharing so far, right, don't forget once again to click on that like or love button. Yep. So let's now go into the second part of my presentation today, which is on this alternate coin called Litecoin, right? Otherwise, the symbol is LTC, right? So, I think if you haven't watched my video last week, I actually shared in detail on what this Litecoin is all about and what's my view on Litecoin. So do catch that video if you haven't done so already. Yep. So this is actually a continuation of that what I mentioned last week. And in today's session, we're actually going to see what's the potential for Litecoin, right? It actually, dropped a fair bit since my sharing last week. And for those of you who actually bought this, you're not sure whether you should continue holding it. Is it actually, is it due for further downside? Should I actually sell it off, or is there actually opportunity to buy more Litecoin? Right. So one thing to take note, right, was that what I mentioned last week is the uptrend line, right? It actually broke that uptrend line, so it actually, as a result, turned bearish, right? At least on the short-term basis. So let's do a quick recap, right? In case you have forgotten what I shared last week. So here's just a quick recap to jog your memory. So this was the uptrend line that I mentioned about, right? This was the uptrend line that I shared last week, and it was tested 3 times, right? The most recent time was last week, and we weren't quite sure whether this would remain supported, right? It does look like it might break down because you're so close to that uptrend line. And the downtrend line, right? We point out the downtrend line. So there's something to look out for if it turns to the upside. First, horizontal resistance, right? So there's also that level to watch out for, right? If it also turns to the upside as well. The daily MACD was negative, right? So there was some bearish momentum as identified last week. So that was something we identified last week, right? We weren't quite sure whether this will continue to be negative and bearish momentum will continue, or will it actually turn less negative and become more bullish. And on the shorter time scale, right, on the 4-hour chart, right, we also saw that slight bullish divergence, right, in which the price make a lower low and RSI make a higher low, right? So that was some indication of bottoming out in the short term. And the short-term MACD, right, it actually also just turned positive. So, on the 4-hour time scale, there was some bullish indication, right, of some impending price reversal, right, but we weren't quite sure, right? So we needed to wait for more confirmation. Right, so, at that time, last week, what I mentioned was, if you are a short or mid-term trader, right, we could initiate a long position if the uptrend line remains supported. But we should set our cut loss slightly below the previous low at about $109. And these are some of the take profit prices, right, at a different resistance level. Right, so let's see what happened ever since then, right? With the past 7 days of trading, right, for Litecoin, let's see what happened. So first of all, right, as I mentioned right from the very beginning of my introduction for Litecoin, it actually broke convincingly, right, on Monday, right? So this was the Monday candle, right? You can see that it was a very big red candle, right, and didn't actually break past this uptrend line ever since. Right, so actually, if you actually followed my suggestion last week, right, you're going to enter a long position because actually, it didn't hold convincingly, and it actually broke very convincingly, right, on Monday. The downtrend line, right, since it broke the uptrend line, the downtrend line was even further away. So it continued to trade below this downtrend line. As well as the first horizontal resistance, right, it still continued to trade below this level. And no surprises here, right? The daily MACD continued to be negative for this week, right? So the bearish momentum kind of persisted, right, for this week as well in terms of MACD. So in conclusion, right, for the past week for Litecoin, it did not turn bullish, right? As on the very first day first day of the week, right, on Monday, the uptrend line actually did not hold, and it fell very convincingly, right? So with that, right, I think most of you will eager to understand what the future actually holds for Litecoin, right? With all these price developments, what should we actually look out for Litecoin? And before we do, right, don't forget to give this video a like and love, right, once again, right, so that I know that you're finding value from my sharing so far. All right, so let's quickly go through some future analysis, for Litecoin. So let's go through, bit by bit once again. And once again, we have that uptrend line, right, that's shown here again. You can see that, after it broke on Monday, right, it has, tried to break past this uptrend line. Yeah, but it has failed to do so ever since, right? The price is slightly higher, right? But it still appears that this uptrend line is the resistance, right? So we do have to watch for this this line, whether this key level will actually be broken above eventually for further upside. Right? If not, it might actually bounce back down again. That's something to watch out for the very near future. And now we have the first horizontal support right at this level, right at about 102 US dollars. So you can see that it used to be tested, several times in the past, right, over here and here, right, and now recently here as well. So this is something to watch out for, right? If the price can actually stay above this line, that'll be a good sign. It might imply that the price, of Litecoin might be headed up, right, for further upside. And if we headed for the further upside, right, we could be looking at resistance levels, right? So the first resistance will be that 121 that I mentioned last week as well, right? And that is the first immediate resistance to watch out for, right? So it was, previously the support, right, over here, these 3 times. And that would be actually the next resistance level it has to clear, right, for it to see higher highs, right, in the near future. Yep. And if that breaks, right, then we could be watching for this downtrend line. And this is the eventual line, right, that we have to see it breaking for it to see even further upside, right? If not, you just continue trading below this downtrend line, and that downward momentum for Litecoin would continue. Daily MACD, right? Today MACD is still negative as mentioned, right? But some positive signs we see now is that it is appearing to be less negative, right? You can see that the gap is narrowing, right? So that is a positive sign. In fact, it might seem that it might cross over soon to the positive region, right? So that is something for you to watch out for before you turn bullish for Litecoin. So what's my trading plan? Once again, right, do your own due diligence for this. Because my strategy might not work for everyone, right? So for this Litecoin, right, what I suggest is if you're entering a long position, right, if you're entering, buying the coin now and selling at a higher price, what you should do, right, is actually, you should wait and see whether the price actually break above that uptrend line that I joined over here. You have to break it convincingly, and or you see the confirmation in the MACD, right? We have to continue to see the MACD continue to be less negative, right? So if that happens, right, if these 2 things happen, right, and or right, and or so either of them, right, or both of them, right, then we get that confirmation that price might be headed for the upside, and we can initiate a long position. And if we get more confirmation, right, when we see the first horizontal resistance breaking or the MACD crossing over to the positive region, we could add further long position, right? If not, that would actually be the take profit level, right? And if that actually continues, if the first horizontal resistance is broken convincingly as well, right, we could be looking at that downtrend line as the ultimate resistance, right? And that will actually, be the next resistance level to watch out for. So similarly, right, if it actually breaks, right, we could add, but if not, that could be a level to take profit as well, right? So this is something for us to watch out for, right? These are some of the key levels to watch out for Litecoin if you're actually interested in trading Litecoin in the very near future. Yep, and that actually concludes my analysis for Litecoin. So once again, right, if you have found value in my sharing so far, do give this video a like or a love, right, so that I know that you have found value. Yep, so to end off my session for today, right, as always, I'd like to give a few reminders. So first of all, right, is my Facebook group. Right, I have a Facebook group where I talk about, where I share about other resources and share, my views on other instruments, right, such as stocks, futures, forex, yep, and so long as it's related to trading. Right, so you can join me there, but do remember to answer the membership questions before applying. Additionally, right, I have some of my social media pages. So I have my Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, and very recently my TikTok channel. Right, so you can follow me there, where I will share, some of my insights, right, on these different instruments that I see value in. And once again, right, if you like my sharing for tonight, right, don't forget to like or love this video. And also, do leave a comment below on what you think of my sharing today, as well as do give this video a share, right? If you think this video can benefit someone around you. And before I end off for tonight, right, I would like to highlight this special event that is actually happening very soon, right, on the 20th of April, this upcoming Wednesday, right. So it's going to be held at 8 p.m. Singapore time, and you can see, right, there are actually 4 esteemed guests that will be speaking about crypto. Right, so first of all, we have Mr. Rudy Lim, right, who is actually the CEO of OIO Singapore. And OIO Singapore is actually Singapore's first listed blockchain company. So he is also the ex-head of fintech at DBS Bank, and he has invested and coached over 20 different startup ventures. Right, the next guest we have is actually Sean Xia, right? He is an edu-techpreneur known as Asia Buffettologist, who actually made his first million in stocks even before the age of 30. So among his many achievements include being the ex-founder of Value Investing College, the Amazon best-selling author, and also being featured in numerous media such as the Straits Times, Money FM, as well as other mainstream media. The third guest we have is a very exciting guest, is Vanessa Tarate, right? So she is most well known for her role as recruit Bobo Chia in the recently released movie A Girl's Go Army, right? So if you have watched that movie, right, you have seen her in that particular movie. She is also a former Miss Chinatown 2015 and also participated in Miss China International. So acting foray, right, also expanded into Hong Kong, where she is signed as an artist by TVB, right? So if you're watching Hong Kong shows, you might have found her familiar, right? Because she is actually an artist over there as well. But besides that, right, she is also an avid investor, and she started off with a low 5-digit sum before actually surpassing 6 digits within one single year. And last but not least, right, we have this very handsome guy here, Leslie, right, whom you probably know and very familiar with by now. Right, so he's the man who actually founded Crypto SG, and is widely regarded as the crypto guru, right, in Asia, in Singapore and maybe even Asia, right? So here are the 4 guests, right, for this upcoming event on Wednesday at 8 p.m. So if you're free, right, if you're free and you're interested to join this event, right, I will be providing the link, right, in the comments below, and you can sign up with that link, right? And through that link, you can read more and find out more details of what this event would be all about. Right, so do click on that link, right, and I hope to see you there. In fact, I will also be joining this session because I'll be interested to find out from these 4 esteemed guests on what's their views on crypto. Right, is crypto actually going to be the new gold, right? So that is something to watch out for this coming Wednesday, right? Yep. And with that, right, I will end off the session for today. I hope all you are having a great Sunday evening so far, right? Um, and all the best. You're trading or investing for cryptocurrency next week, and see you guys next week, next Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Right. See you guys. Good night.